Hey everybody, Asher here with RimWorld. It's a new series, it's a new day, it's Alpha 12. And this is exciting for me because I've been playing this game for a while and I've been really enjoying it and I wanted to share it with you all, but I wanted to make sure I kind of knew what I was doing. So we're going to dive into it in just a little bit. But RimWorld is a colony simulator. And what that means is it's a lot like Dwarf Fortress in that you embark, you build a base, you live and play and learn and hopefully don't get killed by the environment. A lot of it also plays like a Prison Architect. Actually, some of the visual style very similar. And you'll get to see some of that as well. So far, I've really been enjoying this game. You can buy it directly from the Ludian Studios developer website directly. Currently $30. It'll be on Steam eventually, but for now, remember, once upon a time we didn't buy games on Steam, and it still worked out really well. So just keep that in mind. But this first part is going to be split up into two videos. The first part is going to be essentially going over world creation and the embarking portion of it. Because if you play Dwarf Fortress, you know that is a big deal in the game. So I kind of want to talk through it, especially if you haven't looked at RimWorld, haven't seen it, don't kind of know what it's about. And then the second part is going to be kind of starting out what you want to do at the very beginning of the game. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do first thing is create world. You have some scant options here. You can do different sizes and everything, but I'm just going to stick to the basic here. We're going to randomize the seed a few times, and let's generate a world. And this is what it looks like. This is the world map. You have all different kinds of info that you can get. Biomes. You can click on areas to get different info here, like the elevation, average temperature. And you can have this set to centigrade or Celsius. I have it set to Fahrenheit because that's easier for me to conceptualize. I know zero's freezing, but some of this other stuff kind of the in between, but you can see there's tropical rainforest. You even have ice sheets that you can play on, all kinds of things. Elevation plays a role, and you actually have like a few little marks here, like it looks like somebody's even, there's a faction here, the Rocket Pack, who are a pirate band, already have claimed part of this. So it's like a living, breathing world. You don't get the full history like, as we just look at a few other details here. It's not like Dwarf Fortress where it goes through the entire history in the world generator. This is kind of like Dwarf Fortress Light to a point, but this is Aldhibane, and we're going to save and finish, and so we're going to do a new colony. And we'll revisit the world and kind of talk about that in a second, because one of the things that's really stood out to me as an excellent part of RimWorld is the AI storyteller, which creates events like pirate raids, resource drops, etc. that affect the colony. Because if you've looked at any sort of Let's Plays, a lot of the time the challenge of the Let's Play or video game is just how do you create a story in such an open world environment? And I think the developer Tanan Sylvester, I don't think that's how you pronounce it, has had a pretty good solution for this. There's three different kinds of storytellers you can use. One is Cassandra Classic, who creates a story steadily increasing curve of challenge and tension, kind of what you expect from a game. Then you have Phoebe Chillax, or Phoebe Chillax, which is a great name, as is a great space rat, but gives lots of time between disasters to relax and build your colony. And if she's set to high challenge scale, she'll hit as hard as anyone. And then you have Randy Random. Randy! Why do I think of Aziz Ansari there? And that was not good at all. But this is not following any rules. It's just completely random, which can sometimes brutally destroy you or brutally save you. Now, for this first video of playing this, and I'm hoping to put in a pretty good playthrough here, we're going to be playing as Cassandra Classic. And I have not actually played on challenge difficulty. I've played on base builder, I've played on rough, which you do have different options. Free play is just sandbox environment. They're very weak threats. Base builder is kind of probably the recommended. Most people on the RimWorld Reddit kind of recommend you start with base builder. There are threats, but they don't do a lot. Rough is where it starts to get rough. Threats can be quite dangerous, and there's no bonuses to colonist mood or crop yields, which we'll get to that. Challenging game, the level requires strategy, tactics, and luck to survive, and that's going to be the goal of kind of this game, is how far can you survive. Technically there's an end game of actually escaping the planet, but we'll get there. Then you have the extreme, which is hard as diamond bladed dagger, enemy strong, price is poor, food scarce, colonists are grumpy, digital suffering. We're not going to do extreme today, maybe when I'm more comfortable with the game. We're going to do challenge though for Cassandra Classic, and we'll get into kind of the backstory of RimWorld in just a little bit. But we're going to do our new planet here. You can see I've played a few test areas as well. And then we get to the embarkation portion of this. Now, there's a lot of different factors that you can go into. You can choose to kind of be close to people. They'll raid you eventually, kind of no matter what. Because this is not a huge planet. It's actually, the world is flat, so they were right about that. What I tend to like to do is choose a random site here. And I actually got a site in the middle of the desert. So we'll kind of look at this like this. I was going to start in a temperate forest, so I think that's what we're going to do here. But just some different aspects. You can let, there's always the information button. Desert is dry, in case you didn't know. And it does get a little bit of rainfall. It's flat. Flat is actually pretty challenging to play on, as you'll see in a little bit. And it's actually kind of a cool desert, considering the average July temperature is up here. But we're also close to, like, the tundra. Is there a boreal forest up here? Yeah, there we go. So we got a little bit of that. But we're going to go kind of for more of a random start at a temperate forest, which is not where that is. They really want to start us in the desert. Tropical rainforest. Boreal. We're just going to pick a spot, kind of. Large hills, sandstone. Really cold. There we go. Temperate forest. It's flat. So we're actually going to go somewhere around here. Now, I don't know for sure. I haven't played enough to see if you can kind of move your colony to another area. My understanding is that you're kind of where you're supposed to be, but you can choose kind of some different places. Growing period is year-round around here. So I'm going to choose a different area because I want to actually have the challenge of having to prepare for winter. Right now, when your average January temperature is 51 degrees or 52 degrees, it's a little easy. So we're going to move up just a little bit, maybe away from this group here, which is just a tribe. And there's lots of different factions here. Like I said, we're going to talk about what it means. But we want to go somewhere that has a good growing period, but not like an overpowered growing period. So let's do, this place looks pretty good. Both of these look pretty good. I like that this average temperature is a little bit cooler. So we're going to do large hills, temperate forest elevation, 680 meters. And the average temperature in January is just above freezing. That's just above 0, which means we are going to dip down into this a little bit. Good April to September growing season. Now you do have, oh, I just screwed that up. Let's try that again. Now you can choose some advanced options. There's not a lot yet. You can choose a bigger area or a little area. Just because I am recording, I'm going to stick with the medium with only that many cells, which is plenty big. And you can also choose which month you want to start. And you can actually start in a non-growing season month. We're going to start in April. Seems pretty good. So that's the site, and then we get to go to the next part, which is pretty important. Actually, the most important, kind of the meatiest part of this, is your people. You do have colonists. You start with 3. This is not like Dwarf Fortress where you get a wagon chattel and then you get 50 billion people you have to deal with all at once. You only get 3. It's like Dwarf Fortress Light. And we have 3 of them. You'll notice age 25 versus age 70 here. Biological age versus actual age. The reason for this is that this game takes place in the year 5500. And pretty much it's in a universe where Einstein was right. We cannot go beyond the speed of light. So while there is interstellar travel, it goes really slow. So if you look around, you'll have people that are like 345 biologically. The oldest I've seen is someone who's over 2,000 years biologically. But that aside, there are a few factors we're going to look at here. So we're going to try and kind of get a good thing to start with. So we have rain. And rain is a night owl and neurotic. So those are traits that you kind of got to look out for, because on the one hand, if you're neurotic, you work harder, you just break faster. In other words, you feel bad enough that you break pretty easily. Now, you're going to see some skills here. They go up to 20. And if you have big flames here, that means you're incredibly passionate about it and you skill up faster. And at little flames, which rain does not have here, it's a little bit different. Now 25 is pretty good. You always want to check the health tab over here. Skills, character skills, and then health. Always want to do this. It's going to feel very min-maxy in a minute because I'm probably going to have to switch off a few people, but you really need to be choosy about your first 3 colonists, at least early on, because later on you won't be able to pick and choose who you get. So like, see, age 70, I re-rolled his skills. We'll talk about why in just a minute here. But see, you don't want someone with a frail back, bad back, and dementia. Oh god, dementia, that'd be terrible to start off with, especially as a soldier. But you see we have different skills. Shooting and melee are pretty good. Growing with a high passion is very nice. Now when you're starting off, you really want to get someone who can do research, someone who can mine, someone who can grow, someone who can build. You always want someone who's competent in medicine, and those are your biggest early ones here. So we're going to re-roll until we get somebody who's not forgetting who they are. Like this is possible, but then we look at like permanent mood -6 because they're a pessimist, neurotic, but a hard worker. Probably going to ditch this person. Bad back, not great either. So 34, biological age 108. Very good researcher. Sanguine, so loves blood. Oh no, never mind. That's different. Naturally upbeat, trigger happy, and very neurotic. We can deal with very neurotic because faster work speed and research, medicine if needed, social high passion. And the nice thing is that if you get someone who's a researcher that has good passion for it, they'll, or at least a little passion, they'll go faster. Right foot, scratch scar. I can deal with that. So we're going to keep Myers, the male colonist here. Next is Andy, or Andrew Brown, who's age 40. We have someone who's a good researcher. He's a decent miner, has good social, good shooter. You usually want one shooter. Problem is he's lazy, so he goes a lot slower. And he can handle the cold. So we may hold on to him for now. He doesn't have really much in the way of health issues. So we have someone who can construct and someone who can mine. So what we're really looking for here now is someone who can grow. Now some of these other skills will come into play later on, like medicine's very, very important. But here we go. Mining, animals, all pretty good. We're just going to re-roll until we get someone who's good at growing. Yes, technically you don't really want to keep lazy if you can avoid it, but I don't want to spend... I want us to get into the game eventually. Oh, another skill that's very important is cooking. You want someone who can cook and grow. Right now we do have someone who is a competent cooker, so that's good. And let's see here. Growing, 6. Medicine, 11. And research, 7. This could be tolerable. And now we can start to be a little more choosy here. Bad back, stab scar. That doesn't deter me as much as night owl, which means you'll get a mood penalty if you're out during the day. Teetotaler swiftly hoards the idea of gaining pleasure from chemicals, so none of that. But abrasive. This gets this gets other people in a bad mood all the time. So we don't want that. And notice the childhood and adulthood give different bonuses. So we're going to randomize you. Alright, so shelter child and glitter worn. Growing okay, but I would prefer someone that has a passion in it. I mean, it has a green thumb, which is a skill that you want because it gives a bonus to growing, but I want to get someone who can grow and is passionate about it. So let's see what we can get. There's a 6. Now you can shoot. Oh, good, aesthetic. Living gets mood loss if she has a bedroom that's too impressive. Well, that's not going to be a problem here. Luddite rebel. You're a colonist of colony, and keep in mind that you have your different professions here. Luddite, which I actually don't remember what that means offhand. She has a high passion for mining. She can grow, and very good hunting skills. Animals we'll deal with in a little bit. Doesn't have any social to speak of, but we have other people that can kind of tag onto that. This is decent as long as you don't have any health issues. Oh, you have cataracts, and you have a good shooter. You're age 66. Sorry, that's ageist. But hey, you were born in the year 4441 and have been in cryogenic sleep for a very long time. Because once again, there's no faster than light travel. Oh, wow, there's a record. 3,119 years. But we can't use you. Alright, this could be good. You're age 68, though. Like I said, we're being very choosy for who we take with us right now. And that is totally fine. Pessimist, no. 4 growing, cold tolerance, slow poke. Left eye, stab scar. So that's going to hurt just a little bit. Can't shoot to speak of. Not the best grower. Let's go for 1 or 2 more growing people. Because like I said, you gotta play through some of it a little bit now. High passion for some of these things. Pretty good medicine. Decent there. Age 29. Chronological age. Really, really old. Psychically hypersensitive. Mine is like a tuning fork. Psychic sensitivity plus 80%. Jealous. Oh boy. So less a bedroom than someone else. You get some mood if anyone's there. And then lazy. So not exactly what I want in my herbalist, but we've spent a really long time trying to get stuff together. This is good enough. I could go a bit harder or a bit longer. Maybe I should. 5 growing is okay. Yeah, here's our team. Cato the scientist. So that's primarily our researcher. We do have him possibly doing cooking. He does have a high passion for social, but he's not great. Social is pretty important. You have your different skills here. Most of them are self-explanatory. Social is important because of convincing, leading, cheering up others. Artistic, crafting art. Haven't done that too much yet. Do we have anybody who's particularly good at crafting? Not really. But, I mean, Andy can make it work. So, but like I said, the first part of the game is really all about survival. So we have medicine, growing, mining. Those are all kind of taken care of. We have some cooking, we have some construction. I think we got our bases covered. So that's going to be it for this part of the video. You can jump right next to part 2. Part of the reason I'm splitting this up is because of my test recording. I lost the recording from this transition point on. So this is Asher. We're going to be starting a playthrough of RimWorld with Lottie, Andy, and Kato, and we're going to see if we are in fact doomed to failure. Or maybe not. But thanks for sticking around, and I will see you all in just a second.